Welcome back to Building Jurassic Park. Last time, we built the herbivore pen and put some of the dinos inside. Now it is time to turn our attention to the first few carnivore pens. But before any of that, I owe Martha a fishing rod, which I promised her as a reward for digging out the river.
Give me the fishing rod.
Yeah, I'm getting it for you now. We did have a deal.
Sure.
There you go, you can have your
Yeah.
fishing rod.
Oh, it's in the floor. Yay!
But a fishing rod wasn't all I made. I also got around to crafting us the Jeep straight out of Jurassic Park, which would allow us to get around the park a lot faster than our current truck could transport us. So, I went for a drive up to the herbivore pen and back, and it really hit me just how much we have already built in just under 1 month. But it also reminded me that we have a very, very long way yet to go. And one of the things we would need to help progress the park to that next stage would be villagers. Now, because of the lack of structures, villagers do not spawn naturally on this island, but what do spawn naturally are zombie villagers. So I went out and built a big trap right outside the base, and brewed myself a few splash potions of weakness and got some golden apples. The two villagers we would end up getting would be a geneticist and a cleric. Now, the cleric doesn't really matter, but a geneticist was a massive bonus, as it meant we could now directly buy some of the stuff we needed for the dinosaurs. Once these villagers settled inside the lab, Martha wasted absolutely no time in flirting with them, and actually married the geneticist before having a child called Tesco, who she promptly used as a weapon. Yeah, unsurprisingly, Tesco would never make it to adulthood. Meanwhile, Martha tried to work out how to be a mother. I extended the tunnel under the base to add a few new rooms, but would also, after a few days, come back to an entire family of villagers, all with interesting names. In my annoyance, I decided to go back down to my factory and build a proper auto smelter. While the 4 electric furnaces we already had in the factory worked well enough, I wanted something a bit bigger that you could just dump a bunch of resources into and wait for them to be smelted. So I built this system where you place the items you wanted smelting in the input chest, they are pumped into one of several electric furnaces, and then, when smelted, automatically pumped back out into the output chest, without needing any human interaction. While this worked great, in all honesty, it wasn't the fastest system in the world, and if I wanted it to be better, I would need to redesign the pipes to make them pump the items faster. The bigger problem, though, was that the furnaces were a massive drain on our already struggling power system, with the entire system, including storage, sometimes going down mid-smelting. To fix this, I began brainstorming a way to generate all the power we could ever need. And I do mean all the power. However, that is a project for another week. In the meantime, we were going to need a lot more resources. Our current method of using the auto miner in the basement just wasn't efficient enough, and in fact, we had just unplugged the miner the week before to help flatten the herbivore pen, and had completely forgotten to plug it back in. Instead, I decided to set up a tunnel miner from Railcraft. This thing, while having a really expensive tunnel bore head attached to it, and filled with coal, would drill out a 3x3 area in front of it, and place the collected blocks/ore in minecart chests behind it. It would even place its own tracks and use gravel or sand to traverse the gaps. I set it all up perfectly, but I will admit, I may or may not have forgotten to actually add the minecart chests at first. With all this sorted, I decided it was finally time to build the first of our carnivore pens, and I knew I wanted this one to be a jungle-themed one. So I spent about an hour getting everything together, and made myself a helicopter, and flew off to find a jungle.
Holy shit, it works. Okay.
Yes, I'm not really too sure how it works, but it
You want the
works.
race? I'll get in the car.
No.
What have you done? Have you crashed?
No. I'm much better at flying than I am at driving.
Still a worrying thing. Can't even speak about.
Nope. The game lagged slightly, but I'm fine.
I heard a damage noise and it wasn't from me.
Yeah, I was flying, and then oh, no.
Great.
Martha?
Crashed it?
No.
If you crash it, try and aim to start. Oh, why is
That's not the
lagging?
problem.
What's with the lag?
Might be the velociraptors.
What do you mean the velociraptor?
I mean the literal velociraptors that are, like, aiming towards me.
Well, it's lagging my game out, so...
Yeah, mine's lagging too, and all I did was go to the jungle. No, that's a bad idea.
Why is that a bad idea?
Because there's packs of velociraptors here.
That's fine. I'm
Right.
basically Chris Pratt.
Okay. Oh, bit of lag.
One bit of a glitching noise for me.
Oh no. Shit, they see me. They see me. Go, 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 go.
Oh, that's what you wanted the cactus for.
Yes, for the helicopter. After all that, I needed to wait for a bunch of glass to be smelted. So to kill the time, I made a little living room with a TV and a to-do board. Martha would, rightly, point out that this room didn't look like a living room, but instead like a worker break room. Once all the glass was smelted, I headed across the lake and found a nice spot to start building the Carno pens. I just needed to cut down a bunch of spruce trees first. The plan for the carnivore pens was to spread them out across several different pens. The front of these would be an outdoor wooden walkway with food vendors where visitors could look in on the dinosaurs doing, well, dino things. The other side would be an indoor building which would have maybe more signs and statues about the dinosaurs, and would give a bit of a higher up view on them. The first of these pens would be, as I said, jungle themed, with it containing dilos, compies, and orienthios. I think the pen actually turned out pretty decent, with there being a small river running through it, with bridges to cross over, and small tunnels for the tiny dinos to run through. While I was building all of this, Martha was completely gutting the top floor of the lab and rebuilding it to actually look like a lab. And it instantly went from being a room that I hated to one of my favourite ones on the server. However, when I was admiring her work, Martha rightly pointed out that I had made a small oversight. The carnivores were going to need a large amount of meat, and we currently lacked the infrastructure to support that. So I came up with probably my darkest Minecraft idea yet, to make a meat factory. But to achieve it, I was going to need some grass. So I made a tiny enchanting room and spent way too long to get an iron shovel with silk touch. The location of this meat factory was going to be in the room which used to be for the auto miner, as it was already split into perfectly sized squares that we could keep the animals in. Actually, getting the animals down there though was just so much fun. Come on.
I feel like I should have googled if these actually...
Oh, for I've already lost one.
As long as you get two, that's better than none, isn't it?
Right, I need you to not move the elevator, Martha.
Yeah.
Because that's the elevator I'm on about not moving.
Oh, you should have clarified. There's quite a few, Josh. I gotta be
That
honest.
is true. At this point, there is quite a few.
I thought you meant the main one, so...
No, no. Oh my god, that cow is suicidal. As I was getting the animals down, Martha finished converting the entrance of the meat farms into this cool Gracilia lab. The animal killer itself ended up being a pretty intricate design. So underneath the area where the animals lived was a catwalk system with rails that minecarts would run along, 2 different tracks which would go over embarkation of tracks, one grabbing a cow from above and the other grabbing a sheep from above. The animals would then be carried up an elevator track system before throwing them off and into a pit where they would land on a conveyor belt and die. Their items would then get dragged along into the sorter, where the meat would be separated from the materials like cowhide. Now, if this lever was flipped and the light turned on, the meat would go into a furnace and be cooked before being placed in a chest that was separate from the uncooked meat. Now that we had the food production sorted, I ran back to the Carno area, and decided to build a second pen containing Procmos, Oviraptors, and Machis. And with that, it is time that I end this week's instalment. When it comes to the quantity of dinos, this week by far has been the busiest. As I said at the beginning of the video, it is shocking to see just how far the park has come, but then I always remember just how insanely much is left to do. For example, next time I plan on expanding the carnivore area and placing an iconic herbivore that Martha has been working to get. So join us next time on Building Jurassic Park.